October 18, 2024. This is the S&P 500 E-Futures Mini on the 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This is what the chart looked like today. And then this is how I had it marked up. It was this rally in the pre-market, a sell-off, kind of a lot of choppy sideways action, then kind of, I guess in a bigger time frame, you can see maybe one leg up, pull back, a second leg up, then a third leg up, and then things just got choppy again. There weren't too many trade setups that I could find, and I did take a total of 2 trades. The first one was green, and the second one was red. So I won one, and then I lost one. And in hindsight, after looking at the second trade, I definitely should have just stayed out of it. It was a very suspicious, not suspicious, but suspect setup. And then from pretty much 9 o'clock Pacific Standard all the way to about 12 o'clock Pacific Standard, that's about 3 hours of nothing really setting up nicely. So I'm going to go into the trades right now. There's also no economic data to really move the markets, so no real spike. Total trading range in the regular hours was about 25, maybe, yeah, about 25, 30 points, which wasn't a lot of movement because most of it was this very choppy sideways action to span that entire 30-point range in the regular trading hours. So in the pre-market, it looked like it's one leg and then a more shallow leg. So it's a break of the screen up channel and test of the new high on this orange up channel. I also thought that this could have been a bigger trading range if I took it from the low and try to connect it here. The thing I didn't really like about this setup is there's no confirmation for a long time to get to about here, here, and here. And if you drew it this way, I feel like the setup is similar to if you had just drawn it my way because you still have to break and test the new high or attempt. So I just had it drawn this way. It didn't really help because it's also in the pre-market. What I did notice was whether you drew it this way or this way, the orange channel had a break and it wants to test a new high. And right on the very first minute, right here, after about 4 seconds, this candle closed. So I did see a new high here. It's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. Also, you have a new low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short. So in real time, right as the market opens, you have this potential setup. You have a second entry short, it's above the EMA, and you have a second entry long that has failed. So you could think it's going short because it could be the break of this orange up channel has tried once up, twice up, made a double top, and it failed to meet the highs. Even if you drew it this way, still the same thing. It's a break of this channel, one attempt up, second attempt up, maybe it's exhausted, could be a correction coming up. And so I thought this was a possible trade. It's a decent signal bar. Like this is a signal bar to go second entry short, which is not bad, but it's above the EMA. EMA is flattening though, so I don't, have to trust it that much. And it's a good signal bar for the failed second entry long. So it's first entry long, second entry long, good signal bar for second entry long. Failure in the second entry long because I like it. It moved one tick up, made a double top, flushed down. So I think it was a decent setup. The thing I did was, the thing why I didn't take it was I skipped it because this formed in 4 seconds. It opens, boom. 4 seconds later, it closes. So this is very choppy. Granted, it's a possible trade, but it doesn't feel quite bulletproof. And if it was bulletproof, I think I might have tried to jump on it. But it's early in the day. Don't want to really jump on it yet. What it could have made it more bulletproof was if this closed at the lows, so there's no tick here, and the EMA was kind of clearly going above this guy. So if the blue line, the EMA, 21 EMA was here, then I knew like this whole setup is below the EMA. The failed second entry long looks safer. Second entry short feels safer. So possible trade, but too aggressive for me. Wanted a lower high, but you don't get a lower high till, maybe you could debate this is lower high, but by then, and it fails to be a lower high, but by then the trade has moved too far. It pushes up. It creates this lower high setup. I also thought this was a possible trade. So it comes from this low here, localized low. It's a first entry short, pullback, second entry short, break of this green up channel, dwelled outside as an overshoot, so it's coming back. It looks like it made one attempt up and then it fails. So this is a nice setup in that it had one tick up and then flushed down strongly. Now, the problem is if this signal bar, excuse me, if this bar had actually closed below the EMA, I would have gotten the trade ready. So while this opens and is kind of thinking about it, it didn't push below this right away. And once it did, it didn't really come back. So it felt too late to take the trade. And after the bar closed, you have a 17 tick candle, which is too far to try to enter here. And I think it's too much of an ask to try to ask it to come out back pretty much 2 points to pick you up. So I had to leave it alone. So it was an almost trade, but you had to have taken it on the engulfing. And I did like that it pushed strongly below the EMA. When prices continue moving, it creates a higher low here. So it's a first entry long, technically right here. Second entry long, but I saw it as a big visual one leg down, first entry long, pullback, second entry long, double top, and then it creates a higher low right here. This is kind of an almost trade because it does have a failed second entry short that's hidden. So it's a new low here. You have a first entry short confirmed right here, moves. This candle creates your second entry short and creates the second entry short failure because it closes here, it pushes here at one time. So first entry short, here it had to have moved up a little bit, come down, creates your second entry short, then it fails on the second entry short, closes at the high. Also thought it was a higher low, but the thing I didn't like, and I called it an almost trade, is this orange down channel has broken, tested once, tested twice. Okay, so maybe it's going to move back up to test the highs of this guy, even though there's a failed breakout here. But it feels like this a little bit unsure. It looks a little congested, so I'm deciding just to skip it, and it wasn't really quite a clean setup. I don't like also that it's the second entry short that's hidden. I have to take a hidden failure as opposed to just a hidden second entry long, second entry short. This is kind of like looking for something that's hidden that's a failure. So I'm more suspicious of something like that. So I didn't even label it as a failed second entry short hidden. I just called it higher low. Decent signal bar, but you also have no real room before you hit the double top here. So skipping, prices move up, pushes up. I don't have this blue line established yet, but I did notice there was kind of a resistance here. The first entry long, technically you have a second entry long right here. Now this is a true hidden second entry long. So it's a first entry long when it's made right here, comes back, pulls back, opens, flushes down, and it had to push back up. So it's a first entry long on this same life of this candle, made a second entry long right here because it closed at the high. No doubt, second entry long, but it's hidden. It's a decent signal bar, but I noticed it after the break, it didn't quite test the lows. So I'm a little unsure of whether it's going to push up again or it actually might reverse. So after watching this and getting excuse me, getting a look at the next bar, that definitely makes me stay out of the trade. Pushes down. So if you went long, looks like you would have gotten stopped out here. This is consolidation area. It's just kind of a trading range. You do have a potential triple test here. It's a really big signal bar though, so I'm not trusting it. And here is actually where it sets up for my first trade. If I can move this a little bit. There we go. Actually, I don't like cutting through the line. There we go. This is actually my first trade. Now it's a break of this green up channel to test the new high. When it does that and it forms this candle, I said, hey, there is a potential triple test here, triple test resistance here. I might be in a possible trading range with a low somewhere down here. Either, see, the low could either be here in my trading range or something here, but it's just within a zone here. I'm going to go ahead and delete that right now for clarity. So I'm seeing this. It creates this tick up, 2 ticks up. I think it's actually, yeah, 2 ticks up, flushes down, closes at the low. I like that kind of setup. I like when it moves up a little bit and then flushes down, closes strong. Although it didn't break below this, I felt it was probably in a trading range of a triple test going for me and a lower high. So I entered on a limit order because my stop's going to be up here and I wanted to keep or preserve a 10-tick stop. So instead of entering down here, which would have increased my risk, I entered right here at 58.9750. My stop was all the way up here at 5,900 even. So right here, that's my 10-point stop. Because if I entered down here, that would increase my stop by at least 3 more points. And I didn't really, actually more than 3 points. Yeah, 3 points, or not 3 points, three ticks, which I didn't want to increase. So I entered, it came, pick me up, flushed down. So now I moved my stop from up here all the way to 1 tick below break even. It flushes here. I didn't have this yellow up channel established yet, so I was hoping the price would move all the way down here. So my exit was right here at 58.91. actually 92, because I wanted to enter before I potentially saw a bounce. But it flushes back up and stops my runner out. So unfortunately, no runner on this one, and missed out on potential trade. But I was hoping this would continue down. As I said, this yellow up channel doesn't exist yet. Chops around. Go ahead and extend this. Pushes up. So now I drew this trend line here and this trend line here. So I had a potential channel I was working with, but there's no clean setups here. Breaks out of the pre-market high that I've drawn. Potential fail breakout, comes back. We have a second entry long here. So you saw a new high, say first entry long pullback, second entry long, break of this yellow up channel. So it sets up for my second trade and it ends up being a failure. So it's the first entry long, second entry long right here. And I saw a triple test. So I saw, okay, I started here, but I actually saw this as one touch failed to break through. Second touch made a double bottom. Third touch made a triple bottom here. Closed, engulfed this signal bar. So I like this. I also saw this one big leg up, pull back, kind of a visual second entry long, but more of a triple test bouncing off support. When I saw this, I said, I want to enter on this. I entered one tick above this original signal bar, which is right here. So it's 59.0150, and I entered on 75. Fills me, then it reverses immediately. And then I thought, oh man, do I actually have a potential trend line here, or trend channel? And it just stops me out. It just flushes on the next candle, stops me out. It's my loss, washed away my win right here. And so I was expecting a push into this yellow up channel because it looked like it was holding here. Then it breaks, and here it looks like it has a strong probability of moving back in. So, but then I looked at this in hindsight. I saw this in hindsight, a larger measure move was made to the tick. So now it's seeing a correction. First entry long, pullback, second entry long. There could be a second set of measured legs, one leg here, pullback, potential second measured move right here that I didn't account for. Also, this price action is a little choppy. It is riding the EMA, but here the EMA was kind of, everything was above it, and now it's kind of playing below it, and it's making lower highs every time. So in hindsight, I think it was an okay setup, but maybe it was a little ambiguous and I should have skipped it. So unfortunately, I didn't, and it ended up being a losing trade. Pushes through. Of course, later it comes back and recovers, but I can't hold through this big pullback because this just happens because it tested the highs of this yellow up channel. It could still make multiple legs down, and I'm not going to try to incur a big loss just in hopes of this reversing. So stop loss prevented more capital loss, but it is kind of a bummer. So I thought this was a decent setup. Prices move up, breaks out of this green up channel, has an overshoot, first attempt long, and then second entry long here, but this is a really good signal bar, but it's far from the EMA, and it's just kind of floating in the middle of nowhere. So if you entered long here, you would have gotten filled and likely would have gotten stopped out here. So I saw it, but I knew better than to take it. Prices then continue moving. It starts getting choppy. It flushes down. This yellow down channel, I don't really trust too much because it just doesn't look very clean. It only has maybe one touch here. Perhaps you could have tightened it up here and you had an overshoot, but then you have another overshoot and another overshoot. So it's just not very clean price action here. So nothing I can really take. No clean second entry shorts till you get here. First entry short, but you already have a break in an up channel. So I'm looking for a second entry short below the EMA or a failed second entry long. So you have a first entry long. Here you have a second entry long. So this is a failed second entry long. Break of the green up channel. Test the highs. That up channel has played out. It's also highest high of the day, or highest high of the day. Made a first entry long, pullback, second entry long. I thought this was a possible trade. It's a decent signal bar, rejection off the top of this potential yellow down channel, resistance, and there's just barely, well, actually, you only have 3 ticks. I think that's why I didn't take it, but I thought it was a possible trade with enough momentum to push through. So there's only 3 ticks though, so that's probably why I avoided it. And it's debatable whether you would have gotten filled, because if you put it 1 tick below, you probably would have gotten filled, but it's happened really quickly. And I would like to probably enter at the lows of this candle, so it's debatable whether I would have gotten filled anyways. Pushes. And I also saw this in yellow, first entry short, second entry short, break of this yellow, yeah, excuse me, break of this orange down channel. It looks like it's broke on this side, pushed up, broke on this side. EMA is acting as resistance. It looks like it's pushing back into this orange down channel, and there is enough room to the low. This candle is only, well, to enter, probably would have entered one tick below this guy after the close of this guy, just to be very sure that it's gonna, push back into range. It looked like I would have entered on this candle and likely would have gotten a fill here. Then prices kind of move sideways. It gets a little just sideways stair stepping down with no clear second entries. I mean, you could say it's a first entry long, pullback, second entry long failure, but these candles are just kind of congested in real time. This is what I'm seeing. And to enter here, I'm worried about getting out in time before hitting some kind of resistance zone here. Of course, it presses down. You have a new low, first entry short. You have a second entry short failure. But this is way too late in the day. This is already, 4 minutes before the close. So nothing, no trade here. And it kind of pushes into the close. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Took two trades. Unfortunately, won one and then lost on the other. And then there were a couple other setups here, but nothing too exciting. Price action was very slow. The volatility and volume were also very low. And it was just a very slow week. So unfortunately, that's just kind of how the way it is. I would imagine next week will probably be the same because up until election, I feel like there's a lot of traders, institutions just kind of sitting on the sidelines, getting ready for something to happen. But I'm not really expecting any crazy good volume until probably maybe right up to the election or right after the election. So hard to say. I wouldn't be surprised if we just get more of this noisy, slow trading up going through next week. So hopefully that's helpful.